What's up guys, it's Harv here. Today I'm just going to be walking you through sort of like a buyer's guide / 2 years ownership video on the Clio RS200. I feel like I've got enough experience with this car now where I can actually try and help some of you guys out if you're looking at getting one of these cars and tell you what to be beware of when buying the car, what's good about the car, sort of the expenses and what you need to sort of money to put aside, I guess, if you're going to invest into one of these cars, just in case anything goes wrong, and yeah, just generally stuff just to look out for. So the first thing I'm going to go around is actually just the exterior of the car and what to look out for. Now, not all models come with the cup spoiler. Some of them have the K-Tech replica spoiler, which people have put on. I believe the only ones that came out of factory with the cup spoiler are cup cars, whereas this was just cup packed, which basically means it's got a quicker steering rack. It had the cup shock absorbers and springs on it, and it also comes with, you can see down there, oh well, on the front, sorry, it comes with the Brembo brakes, which I'll put some shots of in a minute. That's basically what all the cup cars come with, and the cup packed ones come with that as well. The only difference between the cup car to the cup packed car, it's so confusing, is these bump strips are black, the door handles are black, but I've painted mine just to confuse you more, and they don't actually have keyless entry and keyless start. You actually have to have a key and literally turn the ignition like a car should be, in my opinion. So yeah, I have the cup spoiler on these. It's just something to be aware. If one doesn't have a cup spoiler and you really do want one, because I feel like it does finish the look of the car. They are expensive, genuine from Renault. That was £230 not painted, so it was about 300 quid for me painted, just because I know someone who could paint it for me cheap. Other than that, really you want a cup suspension car. The ride isn't great, so if you're looking for a comfortable car, maybe this isn't for you. But the suspension and the stock handling from a performance car is great with the cup suspension and stuff. I'll cover that more later. The only other things to watch out for really is make sure there's no damage on the bumper or the rear diffuser, because they are like rocking horse shit. For a bumper you're looking £500 to £600 off an RS200, and that's second hand. And the diffusers again, you're looking like £200 to £300 just for the diffuser, because loads of people want them. Loads of people convert the 197s to like 200s, so they're just expensive. So on this car we actually have the speed lines on. It came with them on. I think the 7.5J, you can get 8J speed lines, which are the Cup Racer speed lines, where the offset's a bit better. I've actually got 20mm spacers on these. If I had 8J speed lines, you wouldn't really need that, you'd get the same fitment. And then the other ones, I forgot what the wheels are called. I believe they're the other wheels have basically only got about 5 spokes on. I personally don't like them. I prefer the look of the speed lines, but they're both nice looking wheels. And then as you can see, because it's it was cup packed from factory, it's got the red Brembos there. It's got these standard Brembos all around. It's got discs and pads from Brembos. I wouldn't necessarily recommend getting Brembo pads. They go way too quick. The Brembo discs, they're alright. They've sort of bedded in. As you can see, this is actually running on B14, Bilstein B14 coilovers. It's not stock suspension anymore, but when it was stock suspension when I first got the car, one thing to look out for is any knocks from any of the suspension, because the shock absorbers are quite prone to going, and so are I believe it's the lower swivel joints, and the drop links are also prone to going. It's not an expensive part to get, but lots of mechanics don't like working on them, so if you've got a Renault specialist next to you, I'd advise probably getting a quote from them, because a lot of them, they know it's a horrible job to do, so they'll charge like an hour's labour for a half an hour job, just because it is a ball ache to do. But that's the things to look out for when driving on a test drive. Make sure there's no knocks, because if there is, just make sure you try and get £100 to £200 knocked off the price, because you'll need to get that fixed, because the handling will be unstable. So the main thing I'd ever tell anyone to look out for when buying a RS200 or 197 is the gearbox. Mine is fine, fingers crossed, it's always been fine, but what happens on them, the synchros go between third and fourth, and what will happen, you'll go first, second will be fine. When you go into first, it'll just crunch, and then fourth sometimes crunches. The main one to usually crunch is third, but if third starts crunching, fourth will probably start crunching soon. And it's the synchros have gone. It means you have to have a gearbox rebuild or try and find one with sort of that's been rebuilt and buy it and have it put into your car. You're looking, I think, £600–700 maybe just for the gearbox, no labour, so it's an expensive job to do. So make sure you try the gearbox on a test drive. Don't rag it, but make sure you test third and fourth gear enough times, do some pulls in it, make sure it's not chucking the gear out, and make sure it's sliding in nice and smooth. That's what she said. Apart from that, I'd say most things on them mechanically are fine. But yeah, just please check the gearbox because it's an expensive job if it goes.
This car's never realised it's French yet.
No, this car doesn't.
This car thinks it's German.
Fingers crossed. Another problem you can get on these is the handbrake sticking on. It's not a big problem. It's quite a cheap one to fix. It's just something to be aware of. If you have a few cold days and you haven't moved the car, I know that recently it's actually been winter here in England, and sometimes I've gone to move the car. You'll take the handbrake off. You try and move and you have to like sort of gently pull it off so the handbrake sort of brings itself off and lets the car go. It's just something to be aware that they are prone for being a bit sticky, so it's nothing to worry about if you notice it. It's just something to keep your eye on, really. I've never really had to, mine's never been bad enough to need replacing. Let's just put it this way, I'd rather handbrake be stuck on than not not staying on at all, so like it's fine with me. At least not rolling down any hills. So here's the F4R engine, I believe it's called, which is the Renault Sport engine. It's their own engine. It's not used in any other cars apart from the 197 and 200, I believe. This one's actually got a K-Tech induction kit fitted, which we fitted in a most recent video. If you're wanting to get on them, you can see how to do that. A lot of things on the forum recently are about this. What's it called? It's called a CV Summit or other thing.
I can't remember what it was called.
I forgot what it's called. I'll try and find it and put it on the title. Not title, on like some text on the screen now. Basically what happens sometimes when you start it up, you get a squeaking noise. You have to pull this apart, pry it open, and it'll have a load of gunk inside. It basically redirects, I think, the air from the camshaft back into the throttle body or intake, something like that. I can't remember exactly what it does. But yeah, something like that. Oil leaks on these engines, generally I've never had an issue apart from around here. Yeah, just wash out for around the rocker cover, but around there and this bolt there, but literally minor. I wouldn't say minor oil leaks, it is literally seeping out.
Seeping, amazing.
Another thing to check on these, if you're looking at buying one, cam belts need changing every 5 years or 50,000 miles. It's an expensive thing to do on them. Any Renault Sport, usually a cam belt's expensive. It's advised to get the water pump done at the same time and the dephaser pulley because they're around the same area. It's not expensive. The only expensive part is the labour because everything has to come off. And while everything's off, you may as well replace the dephaser pulley and the water pump. So I'd get that done. Or if you're looking at getting one done, make sure you try and get some money knocked off if it's not had the cam belt done. Obviously you always want the cam belt done because it could go at any point. If you're not done, then well,
people lie.
Yeah. Oh, that's another
Proceed.
thing. On all of these, right, on all RS200s and 197s, right, it's the front subframe, which is classed as the radiator support, is rusty as hell. If there's one that's not rusty, it's because it's been replaced. You can usually get them done under Renault warranty because they have 10 years corrosion warranty. I've actually had mine checked out and I'm waiting on a response because it's a 2012 plate car and it's only 9 years old, so it's in the warranty for corrosion. Usually they'll replace it under warranty, so always check it. I think a new subframe for them is usually 200 quid, but then obviously it's the labour to have someone put it on, unless you can do it yourself. But I believe they're quite awkward on them if you don't have a ramp, so I'd suggest trying to get one that's one of the newer ones and try and get that replaced when you can. Also touched on the point, I believe the 2012 one, well anything 2010 onwards, have different top mount suspension. So if buying parts, always make sure that you get the right top mount. Like the coilovers I like to get for this, I think I had to get 2010 plus top mount compatible ones. And also I believe the newer ones, the gearbox does seem to be a bit more robust. I'm not too sure, but I'm sure I've seen somewhere on the forums and stuff, the newer ones did have something done to them to make them a bit more robust for the gearbox and not fail as often. So, last thing I'm going to touch on is the maintenance of these cars. It's not by all means extortionate. It's not like, you know, maintaining an Evo where you have to change the oil every 2 days, or where you've got like, I know on some BMs where you've got 8 spark plugs to replace, but the parts aren't cheap for it. If you're wanting a cheap performance car, just bear that in mind, that like spark plugs for this, I think they cost like about 10 quid each, which is quite expensive for a spark plug. Fuel economy, I get, with how I drive it, 21 miles per gallon. You could possibly get 25, 26 miles per gallon out of it. I know some on the forums which have had like 31 miles per gallon out of it, but I don't even think they use first and second gear. So yeah, it's a great first car. I'd always recommend someone getting one if they want to learn how to drive a car properly and have spirited drives, and it's fun on B roads.
Very forgiving.
It's very forgiving. It's easy to drive. It's fun to drive, and I've never had an issue with it. I love the thing. It's sort of like it takes you from a normal hatchback to a sport hatchback, but it doesn't give you too much power that you're going to kill yourself. It sort of gets you prepped for a faster car with more power, and yeah, it's a great car to drive. So you might be wondering that this is a different engine. I thought I'd just quickly touch, before we finish this video, on the upgrade paths, what you can do to the Clios if you want to push big power. The go-to is having a 225 engine, which is this Megane right here, which is David's, my cousin's, and basically these engines drop straight into there. It's really easy to do. I think people are doing like the engine swaps now for like $3.5 grand, which is cheap, because when I was looking at doing it, there was like $5 grand minimum. And then I think you can get, out of these engines stock 265 brake or 255 brake. Forged, I think you're looking at about 300. You can also put the 250 Megane engines in them, although they're a bit more rare to come across and a bit more expensive to do. Or you can supercharge them, which I wouldn't recommend doing. If you want to go that route, I think they're insane on track, but if you want something that's fun to drive on B roads, I wouldn't go supercharged on the car. It makes it feel, it's just a faster version of itself, and that's all it is. It feels the same. It doesn't change the driving experience. So that's the Clio RS200. I hope I've covered most things. I might have forgot a few things, but hopefully it gives you a little bit of an idea what to look at if you're going to buy one of these cars, and also a little bit of what you can do to them and what they're like to daily. I'll try and do another video on sort of the experience of daily in the car, like a 2 years ownership video on its own. But hopefully this covers all aspects of what to look out for if you're buying one, what's good about them, what's bad about them, and yeah, that's about it. So like the video, subscribe, and any comments or video ideas, let me know. See you guys later.